Hold up. Before we get started, I have my own Discord now and I want to build a community of racing enthusiasts. There will be a link for you to join on my channel as well as in the description down below. Okay, now back to you, Fuller. Hello everybody and welcome back to Forza Motorsport. I put up a poll on my channel the other day asking if you guys wanted to see a sleeper build series, and you guys said yes. So that's what I intend to do today. How am I going to do this? Well, the main characteristic of a sleeper is to pick something unsuspecting and boring and turn that into a beast on the track, so that's what we're going to try and do today. I know we're going to need to put some upgrades on this car, so I'm going to pick D-Class, and I think I know the perfect car for this. Yeah, this is definitely the car we're going to use. So this is a 1997 Volvo 850R, and this is actually the car that my family used to own, so I think this would be perfect for this video. I'm just going to pick a random color for now because it doesn't really matter at the moment, but we'll make the car look a little bit more unsuspecting and obnoxious when we get into it. But for now, we're going to have to purchase this car, and then I think we need to take it on the track just to see how she handles. Alright, here we go. Already looking at the inside of this car, I love the interior. It's so... it's just as I remembered it, honestly. But yeah, we'll take this thing out on the track. It's a little sluggish, but we are already up over 100 miles an hour, but we're going to get this thing a lot quicker in a bit. It's a little stiff, and we're going to be sliding around just a bit, but that's okay. Just trying to get a feel for the car and see how she does. It's not going to stay like this for long, so I'm not too concerned, but I just want to put in some good laps to just try and see what sort of benchmark we're trying to hit and how we can improve this going forward. Okay, coming across the line for our first lap, we are going to set a 1:10.7. Second lap felt better, and we're going to get a 1:09.9. Okay, and our final lap is going to be a 1:10.1. Okay, we've got the testing out of the way, we set some decent lap times, and now there's only one thing left to do. Get this thing up to level 50. Cue the montage. Okay, now I know that probably wasn't all necessary to get the car up to level 50, but I wanted to have as much flexibility as possible, so that's why I spent that much time doing that. It took a lot longer than it should have, but that's fine. We have the car fully maxed out at level 50. Now the next thing will be to put all the upgrades on it, and this is kind of just going to be a little bit of trial and error to begin with, but I do have the car all the way set to stock, and so we're going to throw some upgrades on here, so cue another montage. Okay, I think I've got something that I'm pretty happy with. I wanted this to be a B-Class car, so I've put in all the upgrades to get this up to 600, which would be the max for B-Class. There are a lot of different upgrades in this car, but the main ones that I'll highlight are that we changed from front wheel to rear wheel drive, as well as we did an engine swap. So we're now up to 402 horsepower from the original 240 at stock. We did take on a little bit additional weight, but that's okay because we're putting out some more power. But there is one other thing I need to do. The car kind of already looks boring, but I think we could make it look just a little bit more boring. So I'm going to jump into the editor and try to find a design that I can make that will make this look just a little bit worse. Now that looks worse. I've got the funny stickers on the back. I'm going to call this the V-Wagon because it's a Volvo and not for any other reason whatsoever.
Nice.
Let's take this monstrosity back out on the track and see if our upgrades and improvements are going to make any difference in our lap time. Alright, so here we go in the brand new V-Wagon. We got the paint job, we got the upgrades, we got the tuning set up. So let's see how she does. It's already feeling pretty decent. I've done a little bit of testing with it already just to make sure the upgrades weren't causing too much destruction on the car. But we're going to go ahead and send it into turn 1. Feels pretty good on the brakes. We've got good traction. We've also got our own selection of tire compounds, so that will be helpful in multiplayer races. It was at this moment in the middle of my editing of this video that I realized that I picked the wrong track for this, so I'm racing on a completely different layout for the same circuit, so the lap times are not going to be the same, but overall the car feels a lot better. I definitely think the upgrades make a huge improvement to this car, and I think it will do pretty well in B-Class, so do forgive me that I made this mistake, but as you can see, the car is moving pretty quickly, so okay, yeah, this thing is really fun to drive. Okay, so let's take this into multiplayer and see how it does. And I have already forgotten that, the open events are on a rotation, so B class is not part of this. I'm an idiot sometimes, so I guess we'll have to come up with a different solution. I guess we'll take this into rivals mode? This isn't exactly what I was planning for, but since I'm an idiot, we'll just do this for now, and I'll try to make another video when there's a B class lobby available. This should do for now. It doesn't sound very menacing, but hopefully it's fast enough. So what we'll do is we'll take the V-Wagon out, we'll do an out lap, and then we'll do one time flying lap and just kind of see how we stack up against the rest of the leaderboard. It's not going to be a perfect showcase of the car, but at least kind of give me an idea of how we did for our first build. You'll also notice that I finally switched over to cockpit view because a lot of you guys have mentioned down in the comments that it adds a little bit more realism, so here you go. So here we go with our first flying lap. We'll just kind of see how well we do. We'll take a look at the leaderboard once we set this lap time and just kind of see how we do. And of course the rival is going to be Nick. Oh boy, I would love to beat Nick in the V-Wagon, so please, let's set a good lap here. The car's feeling pretty good so far. We'll see how well we can do, setting a decent time in the segment there. A little heavy on the brakes, and there's Nick already, so hopefully we can stay in front of him. I would love that. It looks like he is gonna pull away on the straight, but maybe we'll have him in the corners, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see. I will say for our first build, kind of from scratch, it's feeling pretty good. You know, we're sticking with him, and this is definitely not the kind of car you would expect to see in a B-class lobby, but who knows, maybe it is. I'm sure you guys have a lot of awesome builds, and I'd love to test them out. But for now, it seems like we're kind of pulling away. I don't know if I really have the straight line speed, so I might have to fix that. And we're getting a little heavy on the brakes there, so he is going to try to swing back ahead of us. But going through the S's, we might have a little bit more power going up the hill, so we're just going to have to put our head down and try to get ahead of him. Still getting a little heavy on the brakes. I need to kind of figure out what's the best braking point for me there, but for now, still doing pretty well. He's still sticking behind us. We're going to send it downhill and just try to power through this turn here. Keep as much speed as we can before the braking zone. Try to brake at the 150 board. Turn it in nicely. Feeling pretty good so far. I can see him in the rearview mirror, and it looks like we are up. So hopefully we can keep that. Last couple of turns here. Brake at the 50 board. Try to cut as much of that as we can. It looks like we're going to come across the line here. He's still behind us, so I think we're going to have him beat. Hell yeah. Okay, so first time out in the V-Wagon. Feeling pretty good. The real question is where are we going to stack up on the leaderboard? Top 30%. Okay, not terrible. Let's take this out on another track. Okay, here we go at Watkins Glen. I feel like this is another pretty common multiplayer track, so we'll see how we do here. We've already gotten our out lap out of the way, and so now we'll get into the flying lap and just see how well we do. Setting a pretty decent sector time in the 90 as we set it up the hill. Car does feel a little skittish, so I might have to tune it a little bit more, but so far we're feeling pretty good as we come onto the straight here. Looks like the rival's pretty far behind us, so I think we might have a pretty decent shot at this one as well. So as we power up the straight into the chicanes, we'll see how she handles here as we go through the inner loop. I feel pretty okay about that. Let's see how we do in the outer loop. Gonna try to carry as much speed as I can. Not really taking the best line. I could probably sharpen that up a little bit and then carry this to the outside, but still feeling pretty okay. I can see there's a pretty decent gap to the rival behind us, so this is feeling like a pretty decent lap in my eyes. We'll send it into the final couple of turns here. Try to carry as much speed as we can to the outside. Coming into the final turn here, we just gotta keep our composure, and I think we'll have this in the bag. There we go. Rival still behind us, up on our previous lap time. I think this will be pretty decent. And it looks like we're going to set a 1:22.6 as I slam on the brakes and get a little frisky because I'm just trying to see what my lap time is. Okay, let's see how we did. Hey, top 36. That's a little bit worse than before, but I think that's still pretty good. Okay, here we go at Laguna Seca. This will be our final test of the day in the V-Wagon. After this, I'll just kind of give some of my final thoughts on how I think I did. You guys can let me know in the comments below, what do you think? I'm definitely going to have to test this in a multiplayer lobby to really get an idea of how I stack up against other drivers, but for now, I kind of can't do that, so we'll just see how we do at Laguna Seca as we come through the Andretti hairpin. Not a terrible sector time here. As we carry on here, I'll try and multitask and say that if you guys want to test this out and try to improve it and see if you can make it any better, I'll have the full build uploaded to my Discord in the setups channel, where you can find all the specs and just change it to your heart's content. So that's a shameless plug for you to join my Discord. If you want to test this out, that's where it'll be, and I'll make sure to have a link in the description. Now that I got that out of the way, I'll try and focus back in and see how well we do as we get ready to come into Corkscrew. That's where I always make a mistake on this track, so hopefully I don't throw this in the bin. We'll see how well we do as we get ready to go into Corkscrew. Probably could have braked a little earlier there, but not a terrible entry. More often than not, that's usually where I'm going to lose a lot of my time, so we'll see how well we do there as we come through the last couple of corners. Try to get on the throttle at the apex, and come into the last set of turns here as we pass the pit lane entry, get on the brakes, and try to cut the corner just a little bit as we go up the final straight, and we're coming up to the finish line. I can see the rivals still behind us, so this is going to be a pretty decent lap. It's going to come out to a 139.7, but that doesn't really mean anything to me at the moment, so we'll just kind of do a little bit of a spin out here and try to come to a halt and check our standings on the leaderboard. Okay, top 27%, not too bad, although I can see that there's a guy in an S2000 that has about 33 less PI than I do, and he's still faster than me, so a little bit of a bummer there, but I think we did pretty decent. So, the V-Wagon. Is it the fastest car on the track? Absolutely not. Is it fun to drive? Absolutely yes. It looks cool, it looks like a soccer mom car, it's fun to drive, and I really enjoy doing this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. Make sure to check out the download in my Discord as well, and you can find that down in the description. That'll do it for me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.